This video is for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research.
It's a true story. 5 divers set out for a dive beneath the sea, but one person was missing. When they found the missing diver, he had a knife stuck in his chest. Here's what happened. That day, after they entered the water, they quickly found the cave entrance. The cave had 4 sections, with the entrance shaped like a chimney, called the chimney area. As they ventured deeper, they discovered the chimney area was larger and deeper than expected. Halfway through the dive, they decided to abandon their exploration because their equipment wasn't suitable for deeper waters. They signaled to each other and headed back.
Welcome back to another episode of Quick Reaction TV. Smash the like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you won't miss an upload. Man, I got a crazy one today. Let's jump straight into it. Quick!
Rare photos you've never seen before.
Things humans weren't meant to see. They strapped a comrade to a shark, and look what they captured. As you can see, the camera is attached. Now, as the shark goes deeper in the water, you won't believe the shocking sighting it caught. Wait for it. Now look closely.
That's exactly how I feel, because I don't believe that that was CGI. So somebody, please confirm. Did you see what I saw? Let me know down in the comments below.
Y'all wrong for this. People want the Dirk lookalike to say it was him so Dirk could be free. Man, say it was you. You know he gonna take care of you. Bro, hey, listen. He might offer you some money. You ready to go do that time? Problem is, you might not make it out. Now, this dude really does look like little Dirk, which is kind of suspect. Picture me being a man trying to look like the next man. Dude is proud that he looks like Dirk, too. Look at him. Then his name is Perkio the Choice, and little Dirk name is Dirkio the Voice. Bro, come on. This is biting at its finest. Bro, be yourself. Come on. Unless you're a CL. TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm only showing a picture of a Dirk lookalike. Same hairstyle and everything. I think at one point he had his hair blonde too. Ridiculous. Fresh out the laboratory. Hold up, how did you get verified if you're not even yourself? Can't make this stuff up, guys. You probably bought that blue check. Verified, bro, we can't verify you. You're not even yourself. I wonder what your parents think about this. They raised you and you want to be like someone else instead of them? A rapper at that? All he does is rap and make songs that got him where he is today. Gotta be careful what you say and what you speak about and what you do, because they listening. Bro, change your identity. First thing first, cut your hair. That's what the people with no hair always tell me. I'm out of here.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Now, I'm going to reserve most of my comments because most of all of this is allegation and nothing is really proven yet. But if somebody would expect me, lookalike or not, to take a charge for them and they're going to pay me while I'm in prison and can't spend the money? That's just crazy. But y'all let me know, would you do that? Is that sound advice? Is that something you would do? Let me know in the comments below. Smash the like button if you don't stink, tap subscribe if you know you alive, and comment on today's rabbit hole. Special shout out to all of my channel newest subscribers. Thank you, it really means a lot to me. Let's keep running these numbers up. Quick!
This famous professional boxer is minding his own business and he suddenly gets arrested and goes to prison for life. And he didn't even do anything wrong. Let me explain. Now the guy, let's call him Hurricane. He's a middleweight boxer and he regularly fights at Madison Square Garden. And bro's got a decent record and he eventually becomes known as the Hurricane. And one night, Hurricane, he's out on the town and he sees his friend and sparring partner, this guy, John Artis, and they go to a nearby bar called The Night Spot, and they have some drinks, and they have a good time, or whatever, and they leave, and they're driving home. Meanwhile, about a half a mile away, two other men go into a different bar, called the Lafayette Bar and Grill. And at that bar, these two men suddenly pull out pew-pews, and they just start blasting. Blam, blam. And the customers inside, they all scream and they freak out. And blam, a bullet hits a customer. And then blam, another one. And then blam, another one. And then blam, the bartender gets shot. And then the two gunmen, they run. And they hop into their white Chevrolet and they flee. And unfortunately, two of those customers and the bartender end up unalived. And another customer ends up in the hospital. Now, during all this chaos, there are two shady-ass dudes hanging around the bar. These two guys, Alfred and Arthur. And Alfred and Arthur, they see everyone panicking and not paying attention, so they go over to the register in the bar and they steal a bunch of cash from it. Like I said, they're shady-ass dudes. So then police show up, and they talk to all the witnesses, including Alfred and Arthur, and they get descriptions of what the two shooters look like. Thin, black men, around 5'11", driving a white Chevrolet. So police search the area, and they can't find a white Chevrolet, but they do find a white Dodge. So they pull over that white Dodge, and in that Dodge happens to be Hurricane and John Artis. Now, Hurricane isn't thin and he's not 5'11", so he and John Artis don't match the description of the men who shot up the bar. Regardless, police make them go into the bar and the witnesses there are like, nah, it ain't them. But police aren't done. They then drag Hurricane and John Artis to the local hospital, and one of the bar customers is there, the one who got shot, the one who got injured, and he's in critical condition. And police ask him if Hurricane and John Artis are the men who shot up the bar, and even he is like, nah bro, those aren't the guys who shot me. So police have no other choice. They have to let Hurricane and John Artis go, and they all just move on with their lives. Until several months later, police are still working on the case, and they turn to Alfred and Arthur to help them out. Now, allegedly, they offer them some things, like they offer them early parole from their previous sentences, they offered to overlook the fact that they took money out of the register that night, and most importantly, they offered them a $12,000 reward if they will identify Hurricane and John Artis as the gunman. And boy, that money seems to jog their memory. Like, all of a sudden, Arthur and Alfred are 100% certain that Hurricane and John Artis were the gunmen, and they identify them. It's funny how $12,000 can improve your memory like that. Anyway, that positive ID is all the police need. And bam, they arrest Hurricane. And then bam, they arrest John Artis. And eventually, the two men go to trial. Now, if you're wondering why the police are so convinced that Hurricane and John Artis did it and why they're so gung-ho to convict them, there's this whole racial component to this story that I'm not really qualified to talk about in depth. But just keep in mind that all of this is happening in the 1960s during the Civil Rights era. And things were, let's just say, a lot more racist back then. So these two guys don't stand a chance. Like white cops, white jury, white witnesses. I mean, what do you think's gonna happen? Anyway, in court, Arthur and Alfred, they get on the stand and they testify against them. And of course, Hurricane and John Artis are both found guilty as f***. And John Artis gets sentenced to 15 years to life, while Hurricane, he gets sentenced to 30 years to life. But this story isn't over, because once Hurricane's in prison, he starts to use all his spare time wisely. He starts reading law books and typing up legal briefs and doing everything he can because bro wants a retrial real bad. He wants to get out, and he is not giving up until he does. So about 7 years go by, and he's still in prison. And then, finally, things start to look up a little. The New Jersey Public Defender's Office and the New York Times both discover and report that Alfred and Arthur had been pressured by police and bribed into giving false testimony on the stand. Also, while he's in prison, Hurricane takes the time to write his autobiography, and it gets published. So now people are reading his story, and they start to side with him. And this renews interest in the case, and it brings a bunch of attention to what happened to him. And suddenly, celebrities and civil rights activists, they start paying attention. And apparently Bob Dylan reads the book, and he's so moved by it that he writes a song about it called Hurricane, and it becomes a top 40 hit. Even Muhammad Ali gets involved, and he ends up leading a protest march on Hurricane's behalf. So dude is really getting a lot of support out here. And then, finally, his appeal reaches the New Jersey Supreme Court. And they look at the case, and they overturn the guilty conviction and grant them a retrial. And Hurricane and John Artis are let out of prison on bail while they wait for this new trial. 9 months later, the new trial happens, and Alfred's shady ass gets back on the stand and he testifies again against Hurricane and John Artis, and he again identifies them as the gunman. And not only that, because of the time period and because racial tensions are so high, the prosecuting attorneys argue that Hurricane and John Artis had unalived those people in the bar because those people were white, and that this murder plot was all some sort of black power revenge killing on white people. It's absurd. But as ridiculous as that sounds, the jury believes it.
Like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. It's like a reverse racism thing.
So then, sadly, Hurricane and John Artis are found guilty as fuck once again. And after 9 months of being out on bail, the two go back to prison again for life. And so it looks like Hurricane is just gonna have to sit in prison and continue serving his life sentence. Until again. 9 years later, the case finally gets in front of federal court. Hurricane's attorneys had filed an appeal. And the court, they look at this case and they look at the prosecution's argument that this was all some kind of black power revenge murder against white people. And they're like, oh, well, this is bullshit. And they find that the prosecution had actually interfered with the case by coming up with this absurd theory with no evidence behind it. So then, 19 years after Hurricane's original conviction, the man is finally released from prison. And John Artis had actually gotten out a little bit before this. Now the cool thing is, Hurricane, he actually goes on to become an advocate for people who've been wrongly convicted, like he was. He even sets up an organization called Innocence International to help people, which John Artis joins as well. So, good for them. And by the way, here's what Hurricane looks like in real life.
What? What the fuck? Crazy, but true story. It was so inspiring that they made a movie about it, and Denzel played, or rather starred, as Hurricane. If you haven't saw it, I suggest you look it up. It's a really good watch. But let me know how you feel about that story in the comments below. There it is, Quik Crew. Thanks for chilling to the end. Please like, comment, subscribe so we can vibe again. And remember, keep God first, respect your parents, and love your kids. And I'll see you in the next vid. Quik!